Hey guys, welcome back to the course. And in this section, we're going to go over typography. Hands down, the most important thing in tool in your arsenal and the design arsenal. And the reason for this is that whether you're doing graphic design or UI design, any design that is related to a screen, whether it's a mobile or web, everything in it, whether you want to communicate a product, whether you want to showcase, communicate any feature or whatever it is, everything revolves around typography. So if you master well typography, everything else doesn't even matter. I actually even wrote an article about creating UI interfaces that just have typography and nothing else. And I will show you guys later how to do that. But the point is that typography is hands down the most important thing in design, and I really want you guys to master that. And the beauty about this is that Figma makes it super easy. I'm about to show you guys something really cool that you could do. So let's change this color to white. So Figma has built in it the whole library of Google fonts. So Google created an open source library for all the fonts, for basically fonts that, based on popular fonts, they created their own fonts that are open and free. Let me show you guys the site so you can see what I mean. So Google Fonts is tons and tons of really popular sites, like even Slack uses fonts from Google Fonts. It's a very popular library. It's got gorgeous fonts, serifs and sans serif. If you don't know what that is, I'll explain very briefly. Serif is when there is a little, you see when there's, like, in this case, like a little jaggedy on, like it's not straight. That's serif. When there's, like, you see those little things at the end of the, right here. And sans serif means that it's fonts like that. It's like straight line. See it as straight, and the other one is a little bit more curved. So curved, straight, serif, sans serif. I will recommend to Google that and look a little bit more into it. But essentially, that's all you need to know is serif, sans serif. There's other things that I'll go into in a second. But the beauty about Figma is that all these fonts are in it. So the way I do it is I go for inspiration on this site to find the fonts that I want based on the project. So let's say I really like this font, Playfair Display. I'll go back to Figma, double tap over here, search. You see there's a search engine, and I will write Playfair Display. See, it comes up, and then that's it. It's that. Now this, you guys gotta understand. This used to be so much harder back in the day, like to download a font, add a font to your Photoshop tool, or Figma just cut your work in more than half and made it super simple to integrate any font from Google Fonts. So I would recommend to go to the website and check out the fonts over there. And also, it's great to look at the difference between serif and sans serif. So I would go look at sans serif and go to serif, and then see the difference. And then pick a font, and then go back to Figma and type it in, see if you like it or not. Now, one thing though, difference between serif and sans serif, I would say, in my mind, the way I see the difference between them is like serifs are great for headlines. As you can see, this is like a big headline. This serif works really great. So like newspaper-ish looking website, blogs, all that, I would say that serifs looks great in because of that curvy look to it, and it looks like very old newspaper feeling, like it gives that feeling. I would say they're great for that. Sans serifs are great for like user interfaces, like links. Here, let's go with some sans serif examples, like login. I'll change the font in a second. Sign up, contact. Let's make this a lot smaller, and let's look for a sans serif font. Let's go with PT Sans is pretty popular. So PT Sans, you go over here, you type in PT and then S Sans, it'll complete it for you. And then add some spacing here, and go with regular. And as you can see, sans serifs are great for that, right? For links. These are actually web links, and you know, I wouldn't put like, it would look weird to have this type over here. I mean, look at the difference. Like if this was Playfair, that would look very weird. Playfair. You see, that's so really the difference is, I mean, some designers will do that. You will encounter that in your design career, but I would say that's mainly the difference from a visual perspective. People use sans serifs for you know, clean kind of UIs that, you know, don't and serifs more like for newspaper. So here, let me show you guys one more example of where someone uses serif. Oops, I closed that by accident. I don't know if you guys heard of the site Medium, which I will talk about in other sections. This is a tool that you will use for a marketing arsenal to get jobs, but you see they kind of use, oops, that's a bizarre. So you see they kind of use a serif for their heading. It's slightly, you see it has slightly of a curve. It's got a slight character to it. So, and this is a newspaper site. You see the logo as well as a serif. You see what I mean? It's got like, serif basically, just like I said, it's the character of it. Like the shape, the rounded shapes, or like the little jaggedy over here. That's really what it is. That's it. Okay, so now let's go and show you guys other options. So, like I said, serif, sans serif. Another thing is, I'll show you guys, is playing with spacing. So, PT sans. Okay, so what you could do is, let's say we added another line. So one thing that's important and you'll play with all the time is the line height. That's something really important. So sometimes you want to give more spacing. You see I added over here, right now it's at 120. So you want to add more spacing between the bottom and top of each line that you add. Another thing to do is letter spacing. Sometimes in logo you want to increase the letter spacing to give it more space around. Usually I would recommend that, like, typographies that are designed by really great designers, you don't need to change them. You don't need to do letter spacing. And line height you do, because in like large titles sometimes you want to add an extra line height to give it some spacing, but letter spacing is very rare to use. I would say it's only used in logos, like most of the time it's used in logos. Let's say you want a logo to, like, you know, have, let's play with an example here. So let's say I wanted to add some spacing to it. You see, like, for that it works. Like for a logo it could work well, but besides that I won't even touch this most of the time. And that's it. Okay, so now another thing with typography is, let's say you want your let's say you have a big block of text that you want to add. So when you type on the text tool over here, you want to click and drag. Wait, what just happened? Okay, you want to click and drag, and it creates a box where you can just drop in all your text, your copy in, and it'll stay in this width. So this is kind of important when you're creating an interface and you want the copy to be in a specific width. So you do that. So let's say we grab the copy from that website. Let's see. Let's go over here. Let's grab this copy. Go back to Figma. This is a really large copy. 1 second. PT sans. Let's make this smaller. And there you go. So you see it stays in the width of the tool that I dragged. So, and if you want to make it smaller, you could just drag it. And this is really cool. You could just drag and do whatever, play with it however you want. But here's one example where you want to increase line height. And I usually do this all the time in copy and body. So I like it when there's a little bit more line height than this. I mean, 120 is already increased, but basically the original size is 100. And as you can see, you know, I don't like it when the copy is this tight. I like a little bit of spacing between it because it gives room for the eyes to scan, and it gives more space to the copy. So I usually will be at like around 130 or 140. And again, you don't need to worry about this right now, because the next sections I will explain to you exactly how to become a master designer without worrying about having good taste or not, because this is the biggest part of this course, is really teaching you guys how to be the best designers without having the natural famous ability that designers have, that people think they possess, that they have the greatest taste and they're wearing thick sunglasses and great fashion and all that. You don't need all that. But I'll get to that later. But for now, this is all you need to know about typography. I would say to go to Google Fonts and to play with different types over here. Just click on them, see what brings up. Some are playful, some are a little crazy. Just play with a bunch of them, create and see what you like. That's it for this tutorial. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.